Hola clase, bienvenidos al video de México. In the central Mexican part of the country where I spent most of my time, they are a really high silver mining population, and so they have a lot of silver shops and handcrafted silver goods. And I just thought this was really perfect because just in the open air market, they have all their silver, and then they have the woman who runs the shop has her little kid sleeping in a hammock right below her goods and right above what she's selling. So it's kind of homey and family oriented atmosphere. They still use burros in the towns, the smaller towns, to transport their goods, and they have people who are who are hired specifically to sweep the streets. So they don't have machine street sweepers; they actually have people, and they take really, really good pride in keeping their streets clean. They're very cleanly people. La comida. Everyone's heard of Mexican food, and most of you probably like it. The thing that's neat about Mexican food is that it's very regional. It's very local, and so if you live on the beach, you eat seafood. If you live in central portions, you eat more whatever lives or grows right next to you. It's a tropical area, so you're going to find lots and lots of fruit stands everywhere. You can buy like cups of fruit and then pour chili on them and lime, and that's really, really common. This is a soup called pozole. Pozole is a hominy-based soup, which is a corn-based soup, and it's got pork and chilies and all kinds of wonderful things in it. And in the open air market, you can go shopping every day for your fresh food. So you go, you shop, you come home, and you cook it, and then the next day you do the same thing. So it's a very cyclical style of eating. You go, you shop, you eat, you cook, you eat. You go, you shop, you cook, you eat. And so it's a really big deal. Everyone cooks in a very communal atmosphere. They never waste anything. That began with the poverty levels, obviously. But now they do it because of tradition. So you can see that the bones and the skull and everything are in this pot up here in the top right-hand corner to give the broth flavor. Down here you can see there's still bones and stuff in this pot. But this is something called barbacoa. It's a lamb, basically a steamed lamb in these banana leaves. It's been steamed for hours and hours, and then they serve it. It falls off the bone. They serve it with onions and chopped cilantro and lime, and it's absolutely amazing. And then here, in the pot next to that, the front pot on the right, it's actually a coagulated, cooked blood stew they stew with vegetables and spices to make a yummy taco as well. I can't get past the thought of it, so I mean, I've only eaten one bite, but it doesn't actually taste that bad. But if you think about it, in every other culture, like they have blood pudding and blood sausage and all kinds of things like that in just about every country except the United States. Also, they do have American food down there: Domino's Pizza, McDonald's, Starbucks. They all have it all. And they have their pizza delivery guys on motorcycles. And because they think it's cool to eat things like Americans do, they think that we put ketchup on our pizza because ketchup and pizza are so American. So they actually eat ketchup on their pizza in Mexico. It's kind of funny. Alright, el DF. El DF is short for Distrito Federal, or Federal District, and those are both short for Mexico City. This middle picture is the picture of the Mexican Declaration of Independence, which I saw in a museum. The top left corner is a Palacio de Bellas Artes. It's a theater. It's a major landmark of Mexico City. On the bottom left is El Palacio de Correos, which is the mail palace, and it's beautifully named. It's marble and gold inside. It's amazing. In the bottom in the middle is just a picture of the Zócalo at night in the rain. And then on the bottom right is the most iconic picture of Mexico City because we have an eagle eating a serpent on top of a cactus. And the legend goes that the gods of the Aztecs told them to build their city, their foundational city, where they saw an eagle eating a serpent on top of a cactus. And where they saw an eagle eating a serpent on top of a cactus happened to be on an island in the middle of a lake. And so Mexico City is built on a lake, and this statue is right where they saw that. So it's smack dab in the middle of Mexico City, and that's the reason that Mexico City is founded where it is. It's also the reason that it's built on a lake, and the reason for the next page. As you can see, the scaffolding in this building, it's an older building, but it's built on the lake, and so it's starting to sink into the lake, and they have to keep all the scaffolding in there in order to hold up the building from the inside. These are all pictures of Our Lady of Guadalupe. She's the patroness of Mexico, patroness of the Americas actually, and she's very, very, very special to Mexicans in particular. I'm sure you've all heard of her, but it's kind of interesting if you'd like to go look up the story. This is the new basilica that's not falling down. It's not built on the lake, but this is the old one that was built on the lake, and it is currently sinking into the lake, and that's why all the scaffolding is there. And this is the actual tilma. So maybe if you're interested, you can look up the story of Our Lady of Guadalupe. Tenochtitlan. These are Aztec pyramids located just outside of Mexico City. This is where a lot of human sacrifices were made. You can look it up if you're interested in more. So this is the Pirámide de la Luna y el Pirámide del Sol. So este es el Pirámide de la Luna, so Pyramid of the Moon, y este es el Pirámide del Sol, Pyramid of the Sun. Guanajuato is a city about 4 hours north of Mexico City. It's closer to the geographical center of Mexico. It's a smaller university city where most people go to learn languages. But it's also the center of where the Mexican Revolution happened. So it is full of legends of heroes and other things. In the statue on the bottom right, it's actually a statue of someone called the Pipila, and I'll explain what he was important for in the next slide. This top left picture is just the main square of Guanajuato. This is a picture of a typical street at night. Sorry. In Guanajuato, the city is old, so they don't actually allow very much car traffic to actually go on top of the city. It has an entire system of tunnels built under the city for car traffic only, and then the whole city is pretty much pedestrian traffic only on top, on like the normal part of the ground. This building is called the Alhambra, and this is why the Pipila was important. This building used to be an old mill, or an old granary, and when the Mexican Revolution was happening, the Spaniards put all of the revolutionaries in there as if it were a jail, and they hung 4 of the main leaders' heads from the corners of the building in order to scare people away from joining the revolution. But the Pipila, once all those people were inside, he allegedly came down with a huge rock slab on his back, carrying it himself, which is why he's so strong in those pictures. In the statues on the previous slide. And he supposedly came down with this big stone slab on his back and like rammed down the door all by himself, and all the Mexican revolutionaries were able to escape from the Alhambra and beat the Spaniards there. So they had a huge battle, and were able to start the beginning of the winning of the revolution there. In this bottom right hand corner, you can see a typical street in Guanajuato. they're mostly callejones, which means alleyways, and so they're very small, which is part of the reason why cars can't drive there. But this is the smallest street um, in Guanajuato, and it's called El Callejón del Beso, which means the alleyway of the kiss. And the legend is that a really rich man had a daughter, and he didn't want his daughter dating a poor farmer, so he locked her up in this room here. And the farmer loved her so much that he went and he bought the piece of land next to the house, and he built the house so close to the other house that he could see the girl and they could kiss across the balcony, so that she wouldn't get caught by her dad. Eventually, you'll have to look up the end of the story if you're interested in knowing that. But it's supposed to be good luck for novios, boyfriend girlfriend, to go there and kiss across the balcony. You can still do that to this day. San Miguel de Allende is a little tiny town about 40 minutes from Guanajuato. This is just a super colonial, beautiful little traditional Mexican town. And this is where my heart is in Mexico. This is where I first went, the very first time I ever went to Mexico. It's where I met my family in Mexico, the family that I lived with every year for 4 years. And it's where I first learned Spanish, and it's where I had my first boyfriend. Now it has become a kind of retirement community for a lot of older American people. So a lot of people actually speak English there, and so it's a good language learning area as well. But it's just a beautiful colonial Mexican town that somewhat has inflated prices now because of the American retirement community. But otherwise, it's a really, really beautiful place to be. These are just some more pictures of San Miguel and just how beautiful and quaint and traditionally Mexican that it is. This are some pictures from El Grito, which is the Mexican Independence Day on September 15th. So September 15th is just like the July 4th of Mexico. A lot of people think it's May 5th, but May 5th or Cinco de Mayo is not the Independence Day of Mexico. That's just a battle that was fought, and they don't even celebrate that in Mexico. They only celebrate El Grito. And it's called El Grito because at midnight, everybody goes out and they congregate in the plazas and stuff, and then the governor comes out of the governor's mansion and yells, "Viva!" at night. And so he yells "Viva!" and he remembers all of the Mexican heroes from the Mexican Revolution. So "Viva Dolores Hidalgo," or "Viva whoever else." And so when he says "Viva whoever," "Viva" means long live. And so he would say "Viva Dolores Hidalgo," and everybody would just shout "Viva!" And then once he gets through the list, then he says "Viva Mexico! Viva Mexico! Viva Mexico!" And so everybody yells "Viva! Viva! Viva!" And that's why it's called El Grito, because it is the shout. And it's celebrated with face painting and flags and horns and noisemakers and food, and everybody gathers in the plaza. So it's just like our 4th of July celebration. Really, really fun, really, really big deal. Way exciting. You should look it up if you're interested. Definitely something worth celebrating. So if you are interested in any of these things, go ahead and look them up for your research. Hasta pronto, clase. Adiós.